Hi friends, before we read our story today, just want to go over two vocab words. So, we're talking about immigration, and there are some really important push factors and pull factors. And what we mean by this is a person decides to leave their home country where maybe they feel comfortable. They decide to leave because of either push factors and pull factors. So, push factors are problems in your own home country that make you want to leave. So, maybe you don't have freedom. Maybe you don't have enough money. Those are push factors. They make you want to leave your home. Pull factors are the reasons why you go to a new place. So, maybe that new place has reasons you pick a new country, they encourage you to a new country. So maybe a new country has more jobs. That's a pull factor. It pulls you to that country because there are more jobs. Or maybe a pull factor is there's freedom and you really want freedom. So that country pulls you there because they have freedom. So we're going to read a story. I want you to listen for push factors and pull factors, okay? Hi, friends. We're here with our new unit, immigration unit. So before we get started, I want to tell you what this story is called. It's called E Pluribus Unum, which sounds a little bit silly, right? But it's a really important phrase in the United States. And if you look on the coins here, I'm going to zoom in. You can see E Pluribus Unum. So, what this phrase means, it's actually Latin, which is a language, and this phrase means out of many, one. So, this is our nation's motto or saying, and it's just a short way of sharing what the nation believes in. So, one out of many, one is E pluribus unum. And we're going to learn what that means, okay? So, next, here we go. Here's a question you may never asked yourself. Why would someone leave the home he or she knew, travel across a wide rolling ocean, perhaps under uncomfortable or dangerous conditions, and move entirely to a new country? This is one question we have to think about if we're going to understand how the United States of America began and how it has become the country it is today. A nation made up of many different people from many different countries. The United States is something called a country of immigrants. Immigrants are people who leave their home country to settle or make a new home in a new country. You may have learned about some of the people who traveled from Europe to the New World. This was long before there was a country called the United States, but there were already people living in the North, South, and Central America, and on some of the islands in the Caribbean Sea. We use the term Native Americans to refer to those like the Wampanoag who already were living in North America before the Europeans arrived. Maybe you remember the Maya or Aztec people who lived in Mexico, or the Inca whose empire spread across Peru, Chile, and other lands in South America. To these groups, the places where they lived were not new at all because their ancestors, the relatives who came before them, had lived there for centuries. So remember, ancestors are our family, people who lived before us, so it's our great grandparents, great 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 grandparents, great great aunts, great great uncles, things like that, are people who are related to us who lived long before us. Europeans traveled to the New World for many different reasons. For example, Christopher Columbus came looking for a shortcut from Europe to Asia. Spanish explorers such as Cortez came looking for wealth or money. Oops. Later, more people came from Europe. Sorry, friends, I just lost my place in the story. Give me 1 second. Okay. Later, more people came from Europe that were not just explorers. Some wanted to bring their religion to the people already living there. Some were poor men and women who thought there was a chance to make money to take back their homeland, and where they hoped to lead easier, more comfortable lives with their new wealth. Others were adventurers attracted to the excitement of a new place. The greater number of these travelers to North and South America did not actually want to settle in the Americas and make the New World their home for good. Instead, they wanted to return to their own home countries after gaining some wealth or making new discoveries. So, people came to America for a couple reasons, and we call this pull factors, right? Reasons that people came to America. And that's one, make more money, easier, more comfortable lives, and some just wanted to come for the adventure. Let's keep going. Much later, a group of people we call the Pilgrims were looking for a place where they could follow their own religion without being told what to believe by the King of England. So that's another pull factor. They wanted freedom. They wanted to practice their own religion. Back in England, they were known as separatists, and they lived in fear of being arrested or thrown in jail for not having the same religious beliefs as their king. In order to meet together and practice their religion without fear, they decided to leave England behind. They hoped that there would be plenty of room in the New World in which to have freedom. So that's another pull factor, right? Freedom. The Pilgrims were not the very first settlers in the New World, part of which now we call the United States. They were important, however, because they helped set an example by doing something new and different. So what is an immigrant? An immigrant is someone who comes from another country to settle in a new place. Do you remember the question I asked you in the beginning of the lesson? Why might someone leave the country or leave the home he or she knew to move to a entirely new country? Reasons why immigrants leave their homes and come to live in a new country are push and pull factors. Push factors are the problems in one's home country that would push them out of your country or make you leave. For many immigrants, money problems, trouble in their home government, or lack of religious freedom have pushed people to immigrate or move to a new country. So a push factor is something in their own home country that makes them want to leave. So not a lot of money, and then a pull factor is a factor in the country that they're going to. On the other hand, having more freedom and more job opportunities than are available to them in their homelands have pulled or encouraged people to immigrate to the United States. There are many freedoms, such as the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, that are protected by the American government. These freedoms and other opportunities have attracted people to the United States. Although many immigrants come from different places and come for many different reasons, they all become part of the United States of America. Americans have come from many nations and brought many ways of thinking in order to form one nation that allows and encourages different beliefs among people. E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one in Latin, is a good motto in the United States. Remember the coins I showed you? If you look at the back of the US coin or on the back of a US dollar, you can find this motto. Oops, I'm sorry, I forgot to change the page. But let's see, here it is, E pluribus unum. Today's Americans are either immigrants themselves or they came from a long line of immigrants before them. This means that most Americans' ancestors were immigrants. In the days ahead, you will hear fascinating stories about some early immigrants. You will also learn about the enormous risks people took to immigrate to the United States. You will learn about the many hardships or difficulties immigrants faced when they first arrived in their new country. As you will learn, it's a chance for new immigrants. As you will learn, it's a chance new immigrants are still taking today. So, push and pull factors are really important. We're going to go over those in. Okay, now that we read this story, I added to our chart some push factors and pull factors that I noticed in the story, and I hope you noticed too. So, push factors, reasons that people left their country to immigrate to America, were they had money problems. So maybe they didn't make enough money, maybe they couldn't find any jobs, or the jobs that they had just didn't pay them enough, so they wanted to come to the United States where they knew they'd have better jobs. So a push factor was that they had money problems, they wanted to leave. Another factor was they didn't really have a lot of freedom. So a lot of places in England, like they mentioned, You couldn't practice whatever religion you wanted to, so they wanted to go to the United States where they could practice whatever religion they wanted to without being punished. And the third push factor I found was that the government in their home country, they just didn't agree with that government, so they wanted to leave, just like in the story we read last week. Some pull factors I noticed, reasons to pick a new country, so the reasons they came to America was to make more money, right? So there were more jobs available, maybe there was higher pay, just to have a more comfortable life because they were making more money. Some people just came for excitement to see a new world. And then a lot of people, I would say, making money and freedom were the biggest reasons, biggest pull factors were freedom of religion, right? They can practice whatever they want, and freedom of speech. They can say whatever they want, right? So in America, we had all these things. We had more jobs, a more comfortable life, more excitement, and more freedom. So that's why people were pulled to the United States, and they were pushed out of they wanted to be pushed out of their home country because they had money problems, no freedom, and they didn't agree with their government. Okay? There's an activity on Seesaw for you. Go ahead.